Welcome back to Dealing with the Devils. It's Jack and JD once again, and the Blue Devils are taking on Florida State for their second conference game. Here we are with the second game with the same format where we will be coming to you semi-live. JD, any thoughts on this game in Cameron against Florida State?
You know, I like our chances, but it's going to be closer than people think. It's been the first game in 20 days, or the second game in 20 days, but being at home, we should win, but it's not going to be a blowout.
Yeah, Florida State plays about 9-10 guys, not quite as deep as they have been in previous years when they've gone 12, sometimes 13 deep, but they're always a competitive defensive group. They have size with Kumaji on the inside, and Terrence Mann has been playing really well along with Phil Kofer. And so this is going to be a close game, I anticipate, but I think the Blue Devils' talent will win out. We'll see what happens when we come back at the 16-minute mark.
Oh me, oh my, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We're back at it in Cameron. It was thanks to two really nice shots from Grayson Allen that we maintained it, and Bagley starting to warm up, get the rust off. What do you think, Jack?
Right, two quick fouls from Trey Duval brought in Javin DeLaurier. DeLaurier got the defense going. I think the size that when he came into the court, 3, 6, 10 guys out there, definitely made an impact. Wendell Carter looks good early. Lots of positives from the Blue Devils. 9-7 early on here. See you guys back at the 12-minute mark. We're back. 11 minutes to go in the first half here. The Blue Devils are leading 26-20 over Florida State after Wendell Carter's putback dunk there. He's got the free throw upcoming. JD, thoughts on this segment of the game?
Grayson Allen, and a whole lot of three-pointers coming from the Seminoles.
I agree. Yeah, you look at Phil Kofer and MJ Walker really carrying the Seminoles along with the passing of Terrence Mann, and they're keeping them right in this game. 26-20, as you said, JD, thought it was going to be a close one.
And it is tight. And the other thing that is really just so much fun about this Duke team on offense is that the two bigs, they really are there whenever a shot goes off a little bit or to follow up. And how about that flip? We didn't even talk about it where Mo Bags was trapped underneath and managed to somehow find an angle. He was trapped.
Right. The motors of both Bagley and Carter are phenomenal. See you guys at the 8-minute mark. It's 31-28 Duke here with 7 minutes to go in the first half. Florida State went on a bit of a run there, getting themselves back into it. Had opened up to about 6-7 point lead for the Blue Devils, closed it down to 3. And, Florida State's really been hitting their shots. And lately, they've been getting some baskets at the rim in transition.
I think the most exciting part for me of the segment was clearly the two alley-oop passes.
Right.
Florida and Duke both had an opportunity for alley-oop plays that just ignited the fans on really both sides. It just was moments of great basketball.
Absolutely, JD. And, this is going to be a tight first half for sure. You can tell that. I think second half, look for some adjustments for both schools defensively, because this has been a bit of a high-scoring game. And, Florida State, as a defensive school, definitely is going to look to make adjustments in the second half. See you at the 4-minute mark.
We're back here at the 4-minute mark. It's 37-37. And I think we saw a couple of telling things here, Jack. First is that the big guys can get frustrated when they're going up in a tight game against other bigs. And you saw it with the flagrant one on Bagley. The other thing is the sort of choice of passes or drives by Trayvon. He tends to sort of get out of his flow, and it was good to have him back in.
And on the other side, I think Terrence Mann has done a really good job running the Florida State offense. They've looked really organized on the offensive end of the court. They have a good flow, and that's really what's enabled them to stay in this game, keep it 37-37, despite what the Blue Devils have been able to do in the interior with Bagley and Carter. All right, we'll see you at halftime. And we're back for halftime. The Blue Devils trail by 4 points at the half. 49-45 Seminoles here. Seminoles have shot it well from three-point land, and they're really led by Phil Kofer's 22 points in the first half. In addition to Terrence Mann, who's run the offense well, he's got 5 assists for the Seminoles, although he hasn't scored yet tonight. JD, what do you think needs to change for the Blue Devils in the second half?
So there's a couple of things. One is, how many assists does Duke have for the first half?
Duke only has 6 assists in the first half.
And that tells you a lot about the flow of a game when you're just not getting assists. The other night in the NBA, who was it that had 20?
Rajon Rondo.
Rajon Rondo with 24, 25 assists in 30 minutes. There's something about a flow of the game and the assist factor, which is often goes hand in hand. They don't seem to have a flow. The second thing, and I'm going to say it right now, and you're going to look at it right through the tournament when we get to the big dance, you can't miss your free throws. It had always been the mark of a great Duke team that you'd go to the free throw line and you'd be shooting 80, 90% even in the great games. A little worried about this.
The difference to me, and something I don't think you've given enough credit to, is who gets to the free throw line. The guys getting to the free throw line are Wendell Carter and Bagley because they're constantly near the rim and getting fouled. And so that's why they're not converting as many. But both those guys should hit more. They're combined 2 of 8 right now, but they both almost have double doubles at the half. So you get you give up a little bit, you get also a ton of rebounding, post presence, and Wendell Carter's shot blocking ability.
The other thing that has to change is there seems to be that when Duke plays against a number of teams, the other team always seems to have an aggressive nature about them. And when Duke gets aggressive, they tend to get wild. I think that Coach K always is coaching them to play within themselves so that when they come out of that, they often lose themselves on the court. Other teams just seem to have that as part of their DNA, an aggressive nature about the ball.
Yeah, 2 last points here. In addition to that, sometimes I think it's better for the Blue Devils with their size to slow it down, get some post touches to Bagley and Carter and let them go to work, especially in a game like today where really Florida State only has one true big. So either Carter or Bagley is going to have a mismatch on Kofer or whoever it is. Secondly, no points for the Blue Devils bench so far in this game. You're not looking for much from the bench, but a 0 mark is not going to be helpful in any game.
I clearly agree with that you'd want to see some rotation that's going to result in points. So if you're not getting it, and it's hard to say that you're not when it's 49-45, it's more of a question of defense that is not occurring there. I do not think the Seminoles will shoot as well in the second half, but they clearly were watching the tape from the BC game and living from the three-point lane.
All right, see you guys in the second half. Welcome back. If you're still with us in the second half here, it's 16 minutes to go, and it's quite a basketball game.
A 12-point turnaround. If you're a Duke fan, that was just a magical segment.
Absolutely. Marvin Bagley has taken over at the start of the second half. Grayson Allen hit a big 3, but Marvin Bagley with the 4-point play, the follow-up jam. It's getting crazy in Cameron. We'll see you guys at the 12-minute mark. And we are back. 12 minutes to go. The Blue Devils lead 71-64, but are definitely in a lot of foul trouble here.
Trouble spelled Foul, no question about it. Although the movement looked really good at times. That flow that we were talking about that wasn't there in the first half is clearly there in the second. They're having their way with them, but foul trouble could be a problem as we get near the end. Coach K is going to have to use the bench.
Yep, and O'Connell with a 3. He has 2 assists. The Blue Devils already have more assists than they did in the first half. 20 points apiece from Bagley and Allen. See you guys back at the 8-minute mark. JD, we are back. We got 8 minutes to go, and Marvin Bagley has taken over this basketball game on pace for 30 and 20.
Mo Bags There's just nothing he can't do, whether it's a three-pointer in the corner or that, I don't know how to describe the ball that fell in when he just threw it up there and got it in, hit a free throw, it was and one. Grayson's playing wonderful.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got 6 assists on the night where Duval has none because he's been in constant foul trouble. Florida State has stayed in this game, though, just a 4-point lead, 80-76 for the Blue Devils. We'll see you guys back at the 4-minute mark. And it's 89-88, 4:12 to go. Back and forth affair. Trey Duval with a huge pull-up three, finishing transition, 5 straight points to put the Blue Devils back on top.
There comes a point in watching a game where you can transcend being an announcer and trying to analyze the game where you just revert to being a fan. I don't know if I have much to say. This game is just phenomenal.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun to watch. 2 numbers, though, to give you guys. Free throw shooting for the Blue Devils, 11 of 21 on the game. Ouch. I'd say 52% and 8 of 28 from 3. Again, the Blue Devils shooting, along with their foul trouble, has allowed Florida State to stay in this one.
It's going to be down to the wire, and it's going to have to be someone like Jordan Goldwire to take them to the promised land here, because someone's going to foul out here. Someone's going to come in. They're going to have a big opportunity. It could be Goldwire. It could be anyone else. It's going to be down to the last shot.
I was just going to say that, JD. At this point, it's a little game of Russian roulette to see who's going to foul out. We got 4 minutes left, a tight ball game. We're going to see who finishes it. See you guys at the end of the game when we recap this phenomenal game in camera. JD, 193 Duke victory. The game of Russian roulette actually turned out well for the Blue Devils down the stretch. Nobody fouls out. Trey Duval takes over at the end of the game, leads him to a victory behind Marvin Bagley's 30-20 performance.
The turning point clearly was Trey's Trey.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was unbelievable when he hit the shot, and then after that, he was just unconscious. He drove to the lane, he hit that falling backwards up, and then he took another one after that he hit just saying, "What are you doing? What are you doing?" Yeah, one of those.
Right, as you said, JD, 88-84 before he shoots that 3, 16-6 run from the Blue Devils to close out the game after Trey's Trey. And the Blue Devils really were able to weather the storm in this one. 4 guys with 4 fouls down the stretch. Just a gritty team win here at home in Cameron. And, you know, the Florida...
Jack, yeah. I know you want to do it. Break down the Twin Towers.
Okay, well, you got Wendell Carter, you got Marvin Bagley. Marvin Bagley in this one was dominant, and it really started to happen when Wendell went to the bench, and he was their only option, and that's when Marvin really started getting extremely aggressive out on the court and really dominating in the interior, getting a ton of offensive rebounds, finishing with 11 in this one. But Wendell Carter Jr., on the other hand, was also tremendous, came back in at the end of the game and had a nice stretch of 3 minutes there where he also was playing with 4 fouls, but he too finished with 14 points, 16 rebounds, and was a tremendous deterrent at the rim with 4 block shots in this game.
So the two of them had a combined, how many rebounds?
Combined 37 rebounds, 46 points.
That is crazy. So this game clearly could have gone either way. What's good for the Blue Devil fans, and we are admittedly Blue Devil fans, but what clearly bode well here was they played with 4 fouls, the 4 super freshmen, and they were able to actually play even better down the stretch, knowing that they had 4 fouls.
Yeah, this was a great game for the Blue Devils because, in a sense, a lot of things just weren't going right for them in this one. A ton of foul trouble from the start of the game on. The fact that we were missing a third official didn't help either team really, because there was a lot of calls that I felt were missed, but it really wasn't the fault of the officials when you're down a man. And not to mention, Florida State was just raining threes in this one. In the first half, it was Kofor who had 22 in the first half, but then Angola took off and was on fire in the second half, and he finished with 23 in this one. So, they survived an onslaught from Florida State, played well, and really ended up putting themselves in a position to where at the end of the game they were able to pull it out.
Mo Bags, one of the things that has concerned me is that down the stretch, you might as well foul him. But he went to the free throw line, hit 3 of 4 at ice time, and that was really very, very impressive.
Right, and I'll wrap this up here with this. Next Saturday, we play NC State. It should be a little bit of an easier matchup for the Blue Devils. I don't say any team in the ACC is easy, but this Florida State team is definitely legit. A team that didn't get a lot of respect early on before the season started, but they are a very good basketball team.
That game was tied neck and neck for up to the 3-4 minute mark. It looked pretty grim for the Blue Devils with everyone in foul trouble other than Grayson. They weren't really hitting their free throws. At one point, they were 11 for 21 from the free throw strike. But nonetheless, it'll be a happy new year in Cameron.
Right, and last point, I know I said last point, this is going to be my last one, but when you score 100 points and 97 of them are from the starters, hopefully next Saturday we get a little more from the bench. I just feel it's going to be tough to continually ask for 97 from the starters.
That is probably a good point, and I actually think that the time that Alex O'Connell was on the court was some good minutes, good contribution. Delorier gets a little bit confused out there sometimes, but nonetheless, he actually added some good minutes, and they're going to have to rely on their bench. I think you're right, Jack, to expect 97 out of 100 to come from your starters, and to do that every game when it comes time for a 6-game streak or the ACC tournament it's just not realistic.
Right, JD. So, as I said, next Saturday at NC State. See you there, Blue Devils fans.
Jack, thanks for reminding us to stay tuned for next week when we'll be with the Duke Blue Devils at NC State. Just one more thing. To all our subscribers out there, just find one more. I think this format, and I think the enthusiasm of Jack and JD here is contagious. And I think you'll find that if you tell one more friend that likes Duke to listen to what's going on here, we'd appreciate it. It's the way that we expand our fan base and can help finance our shows. So thank you for listening, and we'll be with you soon.